Sometimes it's hard for me to see if we're going or not. Yes, we're on this Monday of the 26th week in Ordinary Time, and we are in the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verses 1 through 8. This word of the Lord of hosts came. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I am intensely jealous for Zion, stirred to jealous wrath for her. Thus says the Lord, I will return to Zion, and I will dwell within Jerusalem. Jerusalem shall be called the faithful city, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus says the Lord of hosts, old men and old women, each with a staff in hand because of old age, shall again sit in the streets of Jerusalem. The city shall be filled with boys and girls playing in its streets. Thus says the Lord of hosts, even if this should seem impossible in the eyes of the remnant of this people, shall it in those days be impossible in my eyes also, says the Lord of hosts? Thus says the Lord of hosts, lo, I will rescue my people from the land of the rising sun and from the land of the setting sun. I will bring them back to dwell within Jerusalem. They shall be my people, and I will be their God with faithfulness and justice. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, the book of Zechariah is, there's a little bit of a structure involved in this. We have this post-exilic, this group that has this remnant, much small remnant, going back to the land. They've been granted this great privilege to be back in the land, but it's not quite what they were expecting. The former glory that was there is so far less. And so there is a series of dreams that Zechariah has, some of them a little bit complex to kind of figure out, but there is a sort of structure behind this. And there is this theme of the hope, especially in the last two dreams, of that there would be sort of a crowning of the high priest, which is a kind of an interesting thing. A high priest would not be crowned. The king would be crowned. And yet it's a foretaste of what would be the future, the Messiah who would have this. Then in chapters 7 and 8 is the question the folks have. Well, is this going to be the generation where the Messiah will come? Are we going to see the fulfillment of this? And Zechariah doesn't exactly answer their question. In a certain way, he kind of roundabout way says back to them, are you going to be the generation prepared for the Messiah? In other words, that's more important. Are you preparing in your hearts the coming of the Messiah? But in this little section that we read here is that God's intentions are still firm. In no uncertain terms, he will rebuild his city. He will bring about the restoration that has been promised. And so he in here says, the Lord of hosts is jealous for Zion. He has stirred with jealous wrath for. In other words, he's flushed in the skin, red, just with a desire for her. Jerusalem shall be called the faithful city and the mountain of the holy mountain. And then it speaks of the kind of life that would be there. Boys and girls playing in the streets, not fearing for enemies that would trample down. At this point, there was always that fear, constant fear of that. Yet, there is this vision that down the road, this will be. Even more so, he said, I will bring the remnant back. But notice the scope of it. It's huge. I will rescue my people from the land of the rising sun. all the way from Japan. Well, we know that some of the Chinese Jews have come, and from the land of the setting sun. And so the whole scope of the entire planet is involved in this one. Interesting words are spoken here, aren't there? I think we're involved in God's story even now. I hope to catch a vision that we're part of the greater plan of God. Even though it takes years and years and years, God's at work. He knows what he's doing. Our job is to turn to him afresh and trust him in his timing and in his ways. Stay safe, folks. Hopefully we get to see each other soon. Bye for now.